Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're going cosmic. We're diving into the minds of Stephen Hawking and Nick Bostrom, two thinkers who weren't afraid to tackle the big questions about the universe and what it all means for humanity. And our guide, just their Wikipedia pages. Should be an interesting journey.
Yeah, these are really two fascinating figures. What strikes me is how they were both drawn to the same huge questions, even though their backgrounds are so different.
It's true. Hawking, this renowned physicist, black holes, Big Bang, and then you have Bostrom, a philosopher, thinking about AI, simulations. It's just wild how their path actually crossed in some pretty cool ways.
It's like their minds were just magnetized or something, drawn to the same puzzles but with totally different tool sets. For example, Bostrom founded that Future of Humanity Institute. It unfortunately shut down in 2024, but
It's a bummer it's gone. Their work felt so important.
yeah, but its mission was basically to explore humanity's long-term prospects. And that theme, that really pops up all over Hawking's work too.
Right, like looking at the same horizon but from different peaks. And even though the Institute is gone, those questions, they haven't lost any relevance. And Bostrom, he was also an advisor to the Center for the Study of Existential Risk, like really going deep on what could wipe us out.
And that's where I think their ideas start to harmonize. Hawking with his work on universe's beginnings and the laws of physics, and Bostrom peering into these potential futures shaped by technology and existential threats. It's a really fascinating convergence.
It makes you think, like, are these big questions about existence just baked into the universe somehow? Drawing in these bright minds across different fields to try to puzzle them out. But okay, let's unpack Hawking's contributions. His work on black holes and the Big Bang, that's revolutionary. I mean, everyone's heard of Hawking radiation.
Oh, for sure. But what a lot of people miss is his early stuff with Roger Penrose, like the gravitational singularity theorems. Huge for understanding general relativity. They were building a bridge between these tiny singularities and the vastness of the whole universe.
It's incredible when you think about it, a man facing such physical limitations, unlocking these groundbreaking discoveries about the cosmos. And, as his ability to write went downhill, he developed visual methods to keep working.
Yeah, Werner Israel, another physicist, he compared it to Mozart, composing entire symphonies in his head. Just pure thought, mapping out the universe. That's pure genius.
Makes you wonder if being detached from the physical world actually gave him a different perspective, an advantage even in exploring the universe. But okay, let's shift gears to Bostrom now. He's famous for those mind-blowing ideas that make you, question everything. Ever heard of his simulation argument?
Oh, it's one of those things that's either bonker or makes total sense, right? It basically saying we might be living in this super advanced computer simulation created by a civilization way ahead of us.
Okay, I'm hooked. So how did he even get to that, and how does it connect back to Hawking?
Well, he starts with three propositions. The first one is that almost no civilizations like ours reach a post-human stage, meaning they don't develop the tech to create simulations like the one we might be in.
So what if just one does get to that level?
Right, and that leads to the second proposition. Almost no post-human civilizations would be interested in creating what he calls ancestor simulations. Like, think about it. Playing a super realistic video game of your great-great-grandparents' lives may be interesting, but would a super advanced civilization bother?
Seems like a long shot. But I could see where this is going if just one civilization was into running these things.
Bingo. Third proposition kicks in. It says that if these simulations are possible and some civilizations create them, then the vast majority of beings with your experiences are actually living in those simulations.
Whoa. So is Bostrom saying there's a good chance we're all just lines of code in some supercomputer's program?
Not quite. He's just laying out the logic, making the case that it's a real possibility. And here's where the Hawking connection comes in strong. Remember, Hawking was deeply concerned about the dangers of AI, even suggesting it could be the end of humanity.
Back to separate intelligence, it sounds so sci-fi, right? But if a civilization could actually create a simulation like ours, that takes insane computational power, insane intelligence.
Exactly. That intelligence, it could easily surpass our own, become what Bostrom calls a superintelligence. And this is what really freaked Hawking out about the future of humanity. He thought AI could be the best thing ever or the absolute worst.
Utopia or extinction, that's a pretty big gamble. The stakes seem awfully high.
Yeah, no kidding. Both Hawking and Bostrom, they really stressed caution, Foresight, when it comes to AI, it's not just about building smarter machines. It's about what happens after, what are the consequences, making sure we don't create something that could turn on us.
It's like just because we can make something doesn't mean we should, right? But okay, the simulation argument, this superintelligence creating it, that's just one piece of the puzzle. Both Hawking and Bostrom, didn't they warn about other things that could wipe us out?
Totally. Remember existential risks. Hawking was super worried about humanity just self-destructing. Nuclear war, genetically engineered viruses. He even talked about climate change going off the rails and ending us.
Man, it's a pretty bleak list. Feels like we're walking a tightrope with all these threats hanging over us.
It's definitely heavy stuff, but that's exactly why both Hawking and Bostrom, they kept saying, we got to think long term, like way beyond our immediate problems, see the bigger picture. They knew that for humanity to survive, we have to change our perspective, face some hard truths, make tough choices.
I'm picking up a theme here. It's not just about, figuring out the universe or building cool tech. It's about using what we learn to, protect ourselves. Almost like like a cosmic duty.
I like that. Cosmic duty, Hawking and Bostrom, I think they both, in their own way, called for this shared responsibility for our future. They believed knowledge, understanding, that's our best defense against the stuff coming our way.
So where do we go from here? We've explored these wild ideas, thought about the things that could wipe us out. What does it all mean for us right now?
I think the big takeaway is we got to think critically. Both Hawking and Bostrom, they wanted us to question everything. Assumptions, the status quo, and never stop learning. They show us that real exploration, you gotta be okay with being wrong sometimes. Embrace the unknown and just keep pushing the boundaries of what we know.
It's about staying curious, right? Even when the questions get really tough.
Yeah. We can't hide from the complicated stuff, pretend it's not there. We have to face these big questions, look at them from all sides, and be open to changing our minds.
So they're saying we need to be active in shaping our future, not just sitting back and watching it happen.
You got it. Hawking and Bostrom, they wanted us to think bigger, think further ahead, and be smarter about the choices we make, both individually and as a whole species.
This deep dive has been, wow, a real journey. Black holes, simulations, the end of the world. It's a lot to take in.
Definitely a lot to unpack, and we've only just skimmed the surface. Both Hawking and Bostrom wrote tons about these topics. Their books are full of mind-blowing insights and ideas.
So if you're ready to go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, we've got a reading list for you. Hawking's books, like A Brief History of Time, Black Holes and Baby Universes, and The Universe in a Nutshell, those give you an amazing look at his work on the universe and its mysteries.
And if you want to get into Bostrom's head with all the simulation stuff, superintelligence, the future of humanity, I'd recommend Superintelligence, Anthropic Bias, and his latest one, Deep Utopia.
Those will definitely change how you think about the world, I can guarantee that. It really is amazing, huh? Two thinkers from completely different worlds both ended up asking the same huge questions about humanity's future.
Yeah, it's like a universal worry or something. Like whether you're staring at the stars or building AI, the question of where we fit in and if we'll even survive, it just pops up.
Like it's built into us somehow. Okay, but I gotta ask you, it's been bugging me this whole time. What if Bostrom's right? What if we are in a simulation? Does that, change anything?
That's the big question, right? The answer, maybe not so much, but even asking it, that's the really interesting part. Makes you rethinking everything. Reality, free will, what does it even mean to be human,
It's kind of freaky. Like the ground's not solid anymore. If it's all code, does anything matter?
That's where I think both Hawking and Bostrom would say, hold on, flip that thinking around. What if it's not nihilism? What if being in a simulation, it's actually empowering?
Empowering. How do you figure that?
Think about it. If reality's not so fixed, if the rules are bendable, then maybe we have more control than we think. To shape our own lives, shape humanity's future.
Interesting. Instead of being stuck in the program, we can rewrite the code, make a better future, even if it is all ones and zeros.
Exactly. And that's the attitude both Hawking and Bostrom had. Facing impossible odds, but never losing that sense of wonder. Always thirsty for knowledge, always hopeful about the future.
It's pretty inspiring. Their lives, their work, it shows us that even when things are super complicated and scary, there's always room for curiosity and courage. And keep learning, always.
Couldn't agree more.
So that wraps up our deep dive into the minds of Stephen Hawking and Nick Bostrom. We've gone from black holes to maybe living in a video game to the very real threats that could end it all. Whew.
Definitely a lot to chew on, and hopefully it makes you want to check out their work.
And hey, whether we're in a simulation or not, the universe is a pretty wild place. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop learning. Until next time, keep looking up.